US companies attributed 40% of their layoffs to artificial intelligence in May 2026, up from 7% in January, affecting graduate pay, hiring plans, and public tax revenues. The New York Fed found AI was not the main reason recent graduates could not find work. By the end, you will know what drove the surge and which workers faced genuine exposure. One finding stands out: the sector reporting the most AI-driven cuts also added staff over the same period, and that is where Chapter 1 starts. When a company announces job cuts, it can state a reason, and labour market researchers track those stated reasons each month. The AI category is one such label, and it is self-reported, meaning the company itself decides whether to apply it. At the start of 2026, the share of US layoffs carrying that AI label was a small fraction of the total. In January, it stood at just 7% of all announced cuts. By May, that share had climbed to its highest level since tracking began. AI was listed as the stated reason for 40% of all announced US job cuts that month. The raw number of positions carrying that label also set a record. The total from January through May 2026 already exceeded every AI-attributed cut made in the entire previous year. May itself recorded the highest single-month count in this category since researchers began tracking AI as a stated cause. That 1 month alone accounted for nearly 38,600 positions, with AI listed as the reason. Among all industries, technology announced the most job cuts. The sector recorded more than 123,000 positions eliminated in the first 5 months of 2026, ahead of every other industry. That total was up by roughly 2/3 compared with the same period a year earlier, a pace of growth that contributed to technology accounting for the largest share of all 2026 layoffs by industry. Running alongside the AI figures, cuts attributed to company mergers, takeovers, and business failures were also rising through the same period, and in the raw data, these causes sit alongside one another without a clear dividing line. Because companies assign their own label when announcing cuts, the AI category reflects what employers state as the reason, not an independently verified count of roles removed by automation. But look at who is actually losing these jobs, and a very specific group comes into view. The group that has most clearly felt this pressure is recent graduates, workers aged 22 to 27, who entered the labour market expecting a standard search and found something harder. When graduate unemployment climbs above the national average, it signals that employers are pulling back at the entry point of the workforce, precisely where people build the experience that translates into higher pay over a career. By early 2026, the unemployment rate for recent graduates had reached 5.7%, reversing the historical norm where this group typically found work faster than the wider labour force. The overall US unemployment rate at that point was 4.2%, meaning recent graduates were now finding it harder to secure work than the typical American worker. The rise was not sudden. Graduate unemployment was around 4% in mid-2023 and climbed steadily over the following 2.5 years. Underemployment captures a separate problem. Workers who have jobs but are working below the level their qualifications prepared them for, such as a computing graduate taking a warehouse position to cover the bills. By the first quarter of 2026, the underemployment rate for recent graduates stood at 41.5%, meaning roughly 2 in 5 graduates in work were in roles that did not draw on their training. Revelio Labs spent 18 months tracking job postings across thousands of US employers and found that listings specifically marked as entry-level had fallen by around 35%, a drop far sharper than the overall market. Researchers who analysed payroll records from millions of US workers found that in the most AI-exposed occupations, early career workers aged 22 to 25 saw a roughly 16% relative decline in employment since late 2022, while experienced workers in those same roles held steady. It looks like Proof AI is coming for junior roles first. Then the New York Fed found something that complicates the whole story. That complication starts with a gap that has opened between new and experienced graduates. Over recent years, unemployment among the youngest graduates kept climbing, even as experienced graduates edged lower. At first glance, that widening gap looks like proof that newcomers are being displaced by automation, but researchers who looked closely at the underlying data found the main driver pointed somewhere else entirely. The mechanism matters here. When companies reduced remote entry-level positions, younger workers lost a crucial foothold for starting careers, while experienced staff with established roles were largely unaffected. One major study put a figure on exactly that shift, finding that the decline in remote entry-level opportunities can account for 64% of the entire rise in young graduate unemployment over this period. That gap opened before AI tools became widely used in workplaces, and even when researchers held AI exposure constant across jobs, the unemployment divide between younger and older graduates persisted. A separate body of research examined the whole US labour market roughly 33 months after ChatGPT became widely available, looking for signs of broad occupational disruption. The answer was none yet. Notably, the job transitions that were visible had already been underway before 2022, which means they predate the widespread rollout of AI tools in hiring and workplace design. The firm Challenger, Gray & Christmas, which tracks corporate layoff announcements across the United States, spotted a pattern in the same period. Layoffs attributed to mergers and bankruptcies were rising alongside the AI-labelled cuts. When a company restructures after an acquisition and also invests in automation, how those redundancies are labelled is a judgment call. Challenger's data suggests the AI category may be absorbing cuts that would once have been recorded as standard business reorganisation. So if AI is not mostly to blame yet, who actually is exposed when it arrives at scale? The question of who is actually exposed has a specific answer. Exposure is not spread evenly across the economy, but concentrated in particular types of tasks, and the dividing line is clear. When a task can be broken into discrete steps that follow a pattern, such as writing code, drafting text, or answering a customer query, AI handles it comparatively well. A study of how Claude, Anthropic's AI product, is actually used found that computer and mathematical tasks account for around 35% of interactions, placing software developers, analysts, writers, and customer service workers at the sharpest end of exposure. Physical and dexterity-heavy work sits much further from that risk. Roles like health aides and skilled tradespeople show very low AI exposure because the tasks involved require physical presence and real-world judgment that current AI cannot replicate. Not every AI interaction replaces a worker outright. Around 52% of recorded AI use augments a task, meaning the person still does the work but faster or to a higher standard with AI assistance. The other 45% fully automates a discrete step. For workers whose days are built primarily around those automatable steps, that narrow gap between augmentation and replacement could matter considerably. The clearest illustration of how counterintuitive these patterns can be comes from the technology sector. Technology recorded the highest number of announced job cuts in 2026. In May 2026, technology was simultaneously the leading industry for new hiring announcements, posting 11,250 planned additions. The sector reporting the most AI-driven cuts also added staff over the same period. When workers fail to find stable work at the very start of their careers, the consequences can outlast any single downturn. Early labour market disruption has been shown to shape a worker's earnings for years, compounding in a way that is difficult to undo. Which raises the real question, if this is coming, what can anyone actually do about it? So what can anyone actually do? The most visible answer taking shape so far is organised retraining, and one initiative announced earlier this year illustrates the scale of the commitment. A worker retraining nonprofit called Raise US launched with backing from Anthropic, Amazon, Microsoft and OpenAI, reporting more than $500 million secured toward a $1 billion goal. That sum, contributed by major technology companies, is earmarked for preparing workers for new roles in an economy being reshaped by automation. When a technology replaces a task entirely, the worker doing that task loses the role. When it augments the task instead, the worker keeps the role and typically handles more of them. Researchers have found the sharpest employment declines in jobs where AI does the former, and those roles are disproportionately at the entry level. Younger workers in their first jobs who have not yet built the track record to move into adjacent roles absorb the steepest initial share of that disruption. Technologies that reshape whole industries have historically taken decades, not months, to filter through the labour market, and that historical record suggests the disruption now underway, while genuine may arrive more gradually than current reporting implies. That longer view shapes how some analysts read the current data. When a new tool raises how much each worker can produce, firms can do more with the same headcount, and over time that can support employment rather than erode it. Some analysts compare this to the arrival of spreadsheets and email. Both eliminated certain tasks, yet the office labour market grew after their adoption. The honest read is a real but early and narrow effect, concentrated at the entry level and likely to play out over years rather than months. The biggest risk may be that young workers lose the first rung of the career ladder before retraining programs have had time to build alternatives.